Okay.
I will call the December 1st, 2021 Berlin Historic Commission meeting to order. And if there is no questions about the agenda, I will accept a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I have one thing on the agenda, Ms. Carroll, if we could maybe do 24 Broad Street first, I think we will do that much quicker. It's a sign application,
Certainly.
and then get into the 16th Fifth Street.
Are all the other board members okay with this?
Yes, sir.
All right, good, we will do that. Thank you. I'll accept the motion as amended. Or do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we do 24 Broad Street for the signage in front of the 16th Fifth Street.
Is there a second? All in favor? Thank you. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I got
Yes.
a correction on my name, I already told.
I saw that too, yes, okay, thank you. And I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as corrected.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Girardi. I put the other glasses on. So Mr. Girardi, you're here for 24 Broad,
Yes.
and you've got your sign that you want to put up, okay? Michael, are you gonna
Yes, ma'am.
do the sign, okay?
You want the official one here?
Okay, I got you, uh-huh.
There you are.
I think everybody has an opportunity to look at this in their packet. We'll start with you, John. Do you have any? You're okay with it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Robert?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, Nornie?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Mary? Yes. Carol, yes. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Thank you for the short visit.
Was that painless?
You should have stayed, well, you probably could have. We would.
Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. We're always happy to have you with us.
Michael in the sign business?
No, he's just helping us bring him back.
Oh,
Hear
okay,
everything, yeah.
I know he no longer had the business, I didn't know if he branched out.
Okay, we will now have case 12-1-21-25 for the property at Pitt Street. And this evening, I believe we have the gentlemen that are going to put the restaurant in, so they will come forward, please.
Hello.
Hi there.
How are you?
We're glad to finally meet you young fellas. Can you tell us your names?
My name is Marcos Lopez.
Okay,
Brandon Fuller.
okay. And before we start, give us a real quick what you plan to do inside. What's your dream for the space? Because we're all anxious to come partake of whatever you cook.
Yeah, absolutely. For the interior of the space, we want to open it up. You probably, I'm sure, walk by it enough to kind of see. We intend to keep it in that same format. We will have one wall that will separate the kitchen back of the house from the front of the house. Separate of that, it will be exactly as is. We'll put some tables in there, probably get a couple community tables. The bar will remain where it's at. And the idea basically is to create, like a fun, like they put on the sign, a family-friendly atmosphere. We're hoping to just kind of brighten that place up from my past of being in there. And I'm sure you guys been there. It's a pretty dark place. We just want to kind of create a little more like family-friendly, lively atmosphere with the
You're
Civic
done
Center.
with Maryland sports, is that my understanding?
Maryland in general, yeah, we absolutely have
Okay,
every
Maryland
intention.
basketball and all, okay.
Yeah, we have every intention of being very active in the community and bringing the town together. That was kind of the whole idea. We feel Berlin definitely encompasses that. You know, so we want to make something that people are excited to get out to, you know, and be, like I said, be active in the community with a lot of public servants and try to drive business for the entire community, not really focus on any one single demographic. But make
Okay,
it
well,
closer.
we're real excited.
Yeah,
And why don't you take the time first? We all have, you know, your renderings and everything, which are beautiful. So why don't you just real quickly explain to the board and public, you know, your ideas, and then we'll have a discussion. Maybe we won't get you out of here as fast as Mr. Drury, but maybe we will get you out.
Yeah, that was pretty
Too-
quick.
we
I
will
don't
keep
know.
you too long.
I don't talk that fast, I want to make sure I'm clear. So, as I mentioned last time, Samantha and ourselves, we've been working probably together for at least 6 months now with the vision of kind of creating something that Berlin, I don't want to say has never seen, but just something I think they get excited about, something that's a little different from what you have in town, because I think that's one thing that's kind of escaping the community, is something that, a place where we want to almost be like a cornerstone of the community, where people, everyone can go there, you see your friends, it's very open. And yes, you're going there to dine with your family, but you do just feel like it is ingrained. It's just, you know, a cornerstone of the community. A lot of people focus on Main Street, but I just feel like that's not Berlin. There's so much more to it, and you could attest to it. I mean, I'm sure you've been busy. There's a lot of growth here, and there's a lot of growth that's going to be coming in the future, and we would like to be a part of that. Him and I both have families. We do have 2 other partners that are silent. We'll be operating the business. And anything that come forward would be us who you'd be dealing with. But essentially, this is our home, and we just hope that you guys, you know, ingratiate us and welcome us. We hope that, you know, it's something that everyone can be happy and proud of in the town of Berlin, which I think Berlin already has a lot of people that are proud of the town they have. And as we've kind of seen through this whole experience, a lot of people want to maintain the character, and as do we. We know that rendering is very different, and we've gone through quite a few. We're hoping that this one is one that everyone is happy with, so we can all move forward and we can get in there and everyone can move forward and be excited about next year, because we're excited to get in there. So
I'm sure you are.
the idea,
Okay, well, Nora, do you want to start
Sure.
with,
And I've come out, I've met with all 3 of them at different times. And in every time that I've gone out there, I've come up with different things. I've also sat in my truck and looked at this building, looked at the renderings, looked at the building, to train my eye to picture this on the building, and I love it. This here is, I think, is what my eye was looking for. We've been through a lot of different things and come up with different paint schemes and different things, but when I opened my packet and I saw that we're getting a new rendering, and I thought to myself, wow, what is this now? I opened it up and I was like, wow, this is what I wanted to see. This is what my eye was really looking for. I like it. I like it a lot. I know that we'll probably get into talking a little bit about paint, different colors and whatnot, because we are now into a new scheme. But this looks really good. I know in this rendering that a couple of things had come up, and as you guys explained to me yesterday, just in this one that you sent us, it doesn't have the 3-tier drop. So just as an understanding, and it's on the record, because it's not showing on this, that it is staying the same with the 3-tier drop on the pit street. So this is just eliminating that one, but it's probably just a mix up there. So just to know that that is still the 3-tier drop. We're getting into the recess lights. I mean, I like the lighting. There's a lot about it. I know when it first came to us, we had the black awning and we pulled away from it. But as I'm looking at this with this charcoal gray at the bottom, that black awning pulls it out. The black awning coming around William Street, which in my eyes is the front of that building, it pulls it. And you're pulling it back to being a front of a building that may have been a forgotten area. I love the signage on the side, the signing that we're talking about going on the corner of the building. We've talked about that a couple of times in the past meetings. I like that as well. I think this is a very good rendering, and I hope that the rest of the commissioners agree with us, and we can get you guys going. I like it. I really like it.
All right, Mary, did you have a question?
I like it as well. I think it was really a bright light after we'd agonized over this, and I know we probably came off rather difficult, and I think one of the hardest things was we haven't been on the back street, as I refer to it, and you refer to Main Street, where the older, more stately buildings are. Of course, Jack Burbidge has the style guy building always to me, but it has its stateliness. And you're absolutely right, because it came, I think it was at the last meeting, Sam, we came up with it, all of a sudden I realized, well, this is the back street. This was the industrial working street part of Berlin. This wasn't the banks. The school was on the main street, the old school. And the more I looked at it, I thought of, I don't know, downtown in Boston, if you know old Boston, you go in there, you get these beautiful, the Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons, these great hotels, and all of a sudden you go down an alley with cobblestones, and you'll find a restaurant like this. Very high-end, very hip, where the kids want to go, very sophisticated, and when I say where the kids want to go, it wasn't inexpensive, kind of down place. It was just, you thought, oh, this is so great, and that was my feeling, particularly when I saw the colors. I thought it takes you immediately away from what we so wrongly said for years when Victorian popped up, I think because of the Christmas parade and the Victorian Christmases that they did, that really doesn't apply to Berlin today. So I think for all of us, Sam, you had to be in the middle of this. It was sort of like a whole new venture of assessing what would be best, what would look great, and that is, when you come into Berlin from Ocean City, I would say 90% of the people don't come in North Main Street. They come in by the Food Lion, by that, and that is their first, if they've never been to Berlin, oh, that's, and I love the use of the marquee, the 410 up there, and that's going to catch a lot of eyes. So I think it's great. I think
It
all
is,
really
it's very
hit it right.
warm and inviting. this,
Yeah,
I
and it
believe.
blends with that feeling, it isn't, and what happened the first go-round with the young men from Salisbury that wanted to do it over, it really came across as if it was a shopping center. It didn't have that look that this had. You could have been in Annapolis West Mall with a Bed Bath & Beyond or a bookstore. It really, for your entrance into Berlin, which is what we didn't want people to see, want a whole different feeling. They come to Berlin because most people don't know small towns. They know strip malls, shopping centers, and so this is unique. So I think it's really great. You all work very hard. I think it's good.
John did.
I'm like Nornie, I looked at that building and looked at that building, and when we were in these meetings and, kind of just going back and forth, and I think the more we kept going back and forth, we were delaying the project. And I really like this too. I really do like it a lot. I had the question, so you were able to move the vents on the side to go?
So yes, what was Samantha's concern was just not knowing for certain. So we have spoke with our hood specialist. He is able to run the ductwork all the way up the back wall, and we are able to go through the ceiling. So there should not be any issue. He'll remove the ductwork from the inside, and in our conversation, they're sure that they'll be able to remove from the outside, and there should be no issue there.
Yeah, having that awning on William Street.
Yeah, that makes, I like
Really,
everything
I
about
mean, it
it.
wasn't a make or break, but honestly, it's gonna make such a difference.
Yeah.
Such a difference. And I know you wanted that.
Carol, can I interject something? I pulled, reading the notes, something that Jack said at the last meeting, and Carolyn takes such fine notes for us to read, and as I reviewed it again, he said exactly what we had struggled with, and Jack stated he liked the old charm of the building, not trying to make it into something it's not. And that was a term we all learned that was called mother goosing, when you take something it's not and try to, I think it's that, don't make it something it never was. And I think that was interesting. That was sort of our final, and yet when I read what he said, which was his original thought, we were really on the same page with that.
I don't think we were
Sure.
trying to do that from the beginning, but, so you're okay, John?
Yeah, I think this whole rendering, it preserves the look of the building, you know, and I just like everything about it.
Robert?
Well, I really like the fact that this building is basically helping to restore the historical nature of this town. I really do like it. I like the contrasting colors, I like the way it fits in. I like the fact that you're gonna put those faux windows on top with the Maryland flag design. The transom look fits right in with most of the transom windows on Main Street, so it's gonna kind of blend, it's gonna really kind of like extend Main Street right down into Pitts and William Street, so I think that's a great concept. And from what I understand, you're gonna be removing the white brick and putting stucco in its place. Is that,
Yes, that's what Mr. Burbidge
Yeah,
told me today,
that's good.
is, because we were able to, from the Fisher Architecture, we had not presented that one yet, but we have, from the Fisher Architecture one that I had submitted with the original packet, we had spoken to our contractor, and we will be able to do it, we believe, in stucco over, so that all four surfaces, if you will, top two and bottom two Williams Pitts,
you know, like
will all
we
be
were
the
talking
same.
sooner, it wouldn't matter to me which way he went, but the fact that he's gonna do that, it's a nice idea. It's gonna, I think it's gonna finish it off really nice.
Yeah, that would, even to me, if the bricks were left, that's fine too, but if to bring them all, bring it all to the stucco is
Well-
definitely a major
Well, the thing
plus.
with that
Now
is
you're
because
nailing it. Now
You
we're
have the thing
nailing
with
it.
closing the door, if you have to close that one door, it's gonna be hard to match the brick.
Yeah.
So if they're gonna remove the white brick and then close off that door and put stucco over it, who's gonna know? Is the door ever gonna be there? So I thought that was a good idea, yeah.
Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to make comment before we vote on this project?
Let me go, and talking of the sign, are we approved, is the sign on this to be approved tonight too?
Yes, yes.
Do you guys have,
So the sign will look just like that, so to give you an idea of, if you can visualize, and unfortunately we don't have anything of a physical representation. So you're looking at, do you mind if I pull this down just so it's easier?
That's
to
your-
read?
No, go right ahead, you're more than welcome to go ahead and start doing it.
So we're hoping to go with something about 4 feet diameter, so it'll be a decent size, but what we want is something that's visible from the parking lot. So when you are, like you said, people enter through Williams, you kind of see it. So we just want something that's interesting, exciting, because people are used to seeing, well, not that building, but this. And for us, the biggest thing is impression, is perspective.
In a totally
I mean,
different
people-
look.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
We felt like we could maintain the historic feel. We like the historic feel. We've been looking to get into Berlin for probably about 4 years, Barry and myself. We've looked at different properties. This came up, and this was something that it's a corner lot. The Berlin's growing, the parking lots are right there. We feel like it matched well with J&M, matched well with Blacksmiths, but that sign for us is vital. So having something about 4 feet would be great, because what people do in Berlin is they walk. You know, and if they could see something that sparks their interest, we know that they at least come to the storefront, and if we can
You know,
get
it makes Berlin a destination for dining. I think the more fine you have, more fine quality shops and restaurants have, you get a quality person that wants to come and willing to spend money and have the experience of fine dining and having a choice, you know, which is something you're bringing fresh and new, which is great. Yeah.
So, yeah, about 4 feet in diameter, the thickness of it looking about a foot approximately. So the sign will be illuminated, you'll only see the light through the lettering and the number. So, I mean, obviously it'll be lit up, but it's not gonna be anything obnoxious, we feel like it'll still be subtle, but it'll still be visible nonetheless.
So it's similar to the sign that's hanging on Pitt Street for the blacksmith, correct? Have you seen that?
Similar.
Yeah.
It won't be as lit, I don't think.
I- yeah,
It'll be
I-
a subtle light.
But the light is interior.
Correct,
Right.
right,
Yes, yes,
correct.
if that's what
Yeah,
it is,
we're,
for sure.
we've approved that.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's a nice looking sign,
Sterling- Yeah, yeah, I like it,
Okay.
and I think you need it,
Yeah.
because, you know, that's dark back there, too.
We do,
Okay.
we really do, so.
And is your sign the wood sign? What kind of material?
We had, so we're looking at, so it's not wood, it's acrylic.
That's good.
Well, So the bracket that's gonna be mounted on will be like an aluminum, will be painted black. Any kind of electrical work will be hidden with the conduit, it'll be black, so that won't be visible. But I believe it's like an acrylic material though. I'll have to double check and we could email it to you.
Well, the description here on it is tough to read, but it says 48 by 48, round black aluminum light box with white acrylic face and black vinyl logo overlay mounted to the corner of the building. So it's an aluminum enclosure, correct?
It would have to be that to have the illumination behind it. It just couldn't be wood.
Weather friendly.
Yeah.
Just please, if we approve this black bracket, whatever you approve, please put that up there and then put something else, okay?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, okay.
I like
all
that.
right. Is there anything else anybody else wants to ask?
Only one other question is I'm seeing on the renderings that we do have 410 Social on the window. Is that appearing on one window? Is that something that we're going for approval, that we have to approve too for the window?
Well, Dave calculates how much feet or whatever signage they can do, like they do uptown. We don't really do anything with what they put in their windows, right on the inside.
No.
Well, it appears that it's going to be something like written on that window. You see is there in your bottom, the one that's on the screen now, on the very bottom?
Yeah.
To the very left-hand side.
The 3
window.
glass, the larger bay windows. So that's gonna be on the inside is what we're intending to do is decal. So
Okay.
we were under the impression that there wouldn't be no need to go in front of you if we were to put
There's
it on
not.
the inside.
There's
Is that
not.
correct?
Yeah, I just wanted to make, because I've seen it, I want to make sure that we're clear on
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
But there's a certain percentage, right, Dave? of-
Yeah, it goes by
Yeah,
the footage of the building, and
They will have to do a separate
From-
sign.
from
for
what I
that
see
and
here,
everything, so-
they're gonna comply from the total they got here, I think they'll be fine.
Great.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's too much.
Looks like maybe on the wall, I'm gonna guess just from scale, it might be 8 feet wide, 4 feet tall, so that's 32 square feet. You got a 4 by 4 round sign, that's 16, that's 48 square feet. And the window lettering, if it's applied from the inside, that doesn't really count for signage as far as the sign permits. And so if you're doing like the vinyl stick-on, which a lot of people think everything around town is hand lettered, but now the way they have, the CNC machines that cut it out, perfectly for you, and they apply them, you wouldn't know the difference from the old hand painted on the glass. So, I'm gonna say that they're not gonna have a problem. When they're gonna come to me for a sign permit, when they do, and that's all, once you've approved the design.
All right, Robert, are you gonna be,
I'm writing notes.
my secretary again tonight? So we'll go back first to the, things that were approved, I guess, at the last meeting. The cornice on the William Street side will remain. There will be no cornice added to Pitt Street. Is that still, everybody understands that, correct?
Yeah.
All existing stucco is to be repaired and match as close as possible to existing patterns. Okay, we said they're gonna do that. All right. All windows remain as is, so what your change would be those things that you had, right? Are they not doing that now?
We had talked of arch. If they don't have a render, there's no issues with this. This is great too. I'm fine with either one. The arches, as I've been in that, like I said, I've been in that building, looked at different things, and you can see that there are arches behind what's here, and when this gets taken off, all that's gonna be exposed.
So it should be okay, not to even have to do anything with that, right?
That'll be stuck over.
Right. But, it's gonna be an opening, there's an opening behind it, but this is okay. I like this, the way it's drawn.
Okay.
This is perfect.
Good.
It's perfect.
But if, wait a minute. You're saying when something comes off, the arches are there from,
When that brick comes off, okay,
uh-huh.
the window that is shown,
The frame, you mean the frame with the structure
if
around
you
the
look, if you
frame?
look at the old, let me go back to the next, number 6. Page 6. Okay, if you look at Williams, on the Williams Street window, that identical window is on all 3 of these windows
On Pitt,
on Pitt Street.
okay,
When
gotcha.
that white brick comes off, that exact look into the brick from the outside in is what's there on that brick.
Why would you stuck
May I
it,
interject?
stucco over it? Why can't you leave it so you can, it can be there?
Well, the brick would all be stuccoed, up to, there's gonna be some filling in to get the square look out of the arch. It's, there, when that brick comes down, that's what's gonna appear behind it. And it's just like, if you take the William Street side, how are we gonna take what's there, that's kind of recessed into the brick now? See, that's the existing old brick with the stucco on top of it, and it's recessed into it.
That's how
So
it's
now,
built,
so now
right?
we're gonna take that and we're gonna change it into the rectangle. So that's gonna have, if they're doing it there on that side, it's gonna have to be done on those 3 windows there as well.
Well, how do you
Yeah, but
know
may I
what's
say
behind the,
something?
wait a minute, Rob, how do you know what's behind that white brick when they pull it off? I mean,
I've been
how-
inside and looked from the inside
So
out.
you've looked for it, so you, okay. Go ahead,
But-
Robert, I'm sorry.
Okay, if you look at the PDF file from the Maryland Historic Trust, the photograph of the building is with the windows, with the white brick, you don't see the arches. Okay, what I said earlier, I like the design that they presented. With these transom windows, they carry over from Main Street, and it binds with Main Street. If you see those arches, fine, you're gonna cover it up like you covered the door up, and just stucco the whole thing, and put these faux windows in, I think it'll look just fine. I think we're making a big monster out of this little idea. But let's just put the transom window, just the way you have it here. This is the way I like it. And I think we shouldn't make a big issue of it.
I'm not, Robert, I'm not making an issue, I'm
I'm not asking
asking
you
a
about
question,
it.
I have
I
not
think
been
it's-
inside
the
the
conversation
building.
about the arch windows is getting carried over a little too much,
Well, then-
when on the PDF file does not even show it, shows the original brick. So we don't have to change this too much.
I'm not talking about changing it. Okay, the awning will be on William Street and angled and then across Pitt, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, the doors have already been approved, those are pretty wooden doors that you all chose.
Yes, the only change is it's smaller. Unfortunately, they're out of the 96. So we're instead of the 96, we'd have to go with the 80.
It'll still be an
Would it
enlarged
be-
door?
Oh, yeah, they were
It's not-
pretty, yeah, it's a, yeah, okay,
It's
perfect.
still the same exact model.
Yeah, same door, as explained to me, it's the same exact door, it's just smaller
That's
because it's
fine.
out of style.
Okay, well, if we're gonna raise this all up, we just want to be accurate, so. Okay, and then we're all in agreement that these beautiful charcoal and so forth they have here is makes the difference, so, okay.
That's the colors we're approving, right? Charcoal with the black.
And I brought a couple samples if you'd like to see, if that helps you, it's up to you.
Yeah, it's so crystal clear in this photo, I mean, it just makes such a difference to the whole building, it really makes it.
Yeah,
That was what the problem was, there was too much, I think, too much just white. I mean, we've seen it, it's, I don't know, but this is perfect, this is perfect.
And did, the original color that we were asked to do was Monterey white. They are asking for a change for the second floor color. Do you all have that?
Yes,
And
the
your
real
approval?
bright.
What do you call
It's,
it?
it's off-white, that's the sample. If anyone would like to see, we'd be more than happy to show you.
That's the one you looked at, right?
Or is it like the antique white? Is
Like
that-
more like
Yeah,
Or like a ridge frame. That's fine,
Yeah, it's-
Yeah, I'm fine, yeah. Norrie says the other one had a little bit of green to it, that it would
It's like
not,
an
it would
antique
pick
white?
up that green
It's a white, right?
charcoal.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Paige, when we were talking colors and all, at one point I was trying to know, she was saying, you get around red before we know that, so.
Yeah,
She
but
knows that.
According to the morning, it's like a little bit of greenish hue to it.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Okay, and then, Norrie.
If I can make one other minor, from what they proposed on their permit request, they said they would paint the metal, we will be buying the black metal. We were going
Okay.
to buy the red metal, a standard color, and we're just gonna change that to a standard color black
For the awning.
The awning.
for the awning,
Yeah, perfect.
okay? So it's not gonna be,
The
so
other's gone anyway. Yes, that's
it's just,
perfect.
it's not gonna be a painted metal, it will be
Yeah.
baked on finish from the factory.
Well, that's good, they don't have to worry about maintenance.
That's my point, it will last.
When they're molding? Okay. Well, and also, just when we get into the moldings downstairs, and I know I just talked with you guys about it, is that at the top, the antique white, let's do those, the casing around the window, antique white. It
That sounds
just
good.
draws that together. And the only other thing that, just on a strong recommendation, this board, and I'm not trying to rehash or bring anything else up, but just a strong recommendation, if the rest of the building coming down could maybe get painted antique white or something to tie this. This is going to be beautiful. Then we've got something that will stick out, and then we've got another beautiful little brick building. And just a strong recommendation to possibly paint that white. I'm just asking you to, it's not a recommendation.
Well, no, I know what you're saying, it's just the unity and the cost of the paint, or I assume with stucco, would be sprayed on, I would think. David, you know more about construction, is that how they do this stucco?
They would probably
A spray
spray it,
thing.
I would think,
And you know,
yes.
really with, if that was a dumbwaiter or whatever it was, that would disappear more if it was just all one color. You know, if the dumbwaiter and that door were just painted, so you didn't see them, it grabs your eye because of the color, but if it was the whole building was one color, and the trim was the same color as the building, makes it disappear. if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, we've said that all along.
Well, I know, but I
Yeah.
just want to clarify this tonight since we're wrapping this up. Just our suggestion.
Okay, is there anything else anybody wants to add to this? Okay.
You want me to go over the details that we talked about?
Yeah,
Right ahead.
All right, the first one I wrote down was the white brick is going to be removed and replaced with stucco over the original wall. The second one is the sign is presented in our packet, mounted on a corner of the building and following the design as expressed in the application. The third point would be the window design with faux transom windows. The fourth one would be colors, charcoal with black roof for the first floor, second floor, white, antique white, or a shade of white. And then the fifth point I have is a black metal awning replacing the red one that was originally thought of. Anything else you want me to add on this?
Your accent lighting that's shown on here is beautiful. You're gonna, you plan to, because we do approve of lighting. So we haven't talked about that, I don't think, do we, Norton? The light?
I mentioned the recess lighting, that I did like it, but Robert, if everyone is okay with the recess, then that needs to be put.
I like
I
it.
love it. Rhonda's beauty salon, we approved the same thing for her
Yeah,
salon.
exactly.
And that looks beautiful. I like the way they did that.
Yeah, put that in your,
Yeah, I'm putting it, I already put it.
okay, the recess
And if you
lighting.
want to, it's, she's right over there, because if you want to see what it looks like in the dark, and that's gonna look really nice.
That's mounted on under the underside of the awning, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, it just adds the feel, a little warmer feel,
Now,
more welcoming.
well, I don't know how much things cost now with everything like it is, but I would think that would probably be not quite as expensive as doing something else on it. We like that. All right, folks, look at these renderings, just to make sure we haven't gotten anything.
The only thing with the rendering, there was a little bit of a design, you're not changing the roof design, because there's a scallop missing on the roof
Yeah.
design. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing that Mr. Bunting mentioned, that you have the,
Three tiers.
you have a three-tier on the Pitt Street side
Right.
elevation,
That's
so,
fine.
which isn't shown here, but it's shown on the current building. So you want that to remain, correct?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Robert, in your notes, did that hit on, you hit on the hand painted fence, or the hand painted sign also? Nick, you mentioned the top sign. Because we are approving that hand painted sign too, and that looks really nice too.
Kind of like speakeasy signage, I like it.
Okay. Then what I'll do when we finish, I'll type it up like I did last month, and I'll just send a copy to everybody.
Well, it'll be in the minutes.
Dave, is there anything you need to add, or are we ready, can we make a motion?
I'm sorry.
I just want to make sure we don't miss anything. Nornie, you want to go ahead, please, and make a motion to
Well,
approve?
Robert's got the, let's run Robert, he's got the
Okay, all
notes,
right, that's
so
fine.
he can hit it too.
All right, thank you, Norm. All right, regarding case 12-12125, we will approve this based on these following conditions: that the white brick will be removed and replaced with stucco over the original wall. The sign is presented in our packet, mounted on the corner of the building, following the design expressed in the application, as well as a hand-painted sign on the wall on William Street. The window design will include a full transom windows and top with, I guess, the Maryland flag logo in it. And as far as the colors are concerned, the first floor will have the charcoal color with the black roof. And for the second floor, the white, antique white, or a shade of white. The awning the red metal awning will be, from the original design, will be replaced by the black metal awning. And the last item, the accent lighting on the underside of the awning on both Pitt Street and William Street.
Okay. Plus the items that you typed up before from the last meeting that I
Excuse me?
read. Plus the list from the last meeting that we approved.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to include that too.
Yeah, that's
The list
gonna
I
be
was,
part of
I
it.
typed out and sent out to everybody.
That's
the
why,
last
that's
meeting.
why I
Yeah.
wanted to go over. Okay, we'll make sure, just add that into the motion, just say our list from last time, or however. you
All right, and
want.
the final point to be added in will be the list that was produced from the last meeting.
It has 8 points on it. All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Good job. All right, thank you very much.
You guys,
Thank you.
Samantha, thank you.
And if we don't see you before, have happy holidays.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make a comment before we adjourn? Staff, Dave?
Yeah, last meeting, we discussed Robert's work on the guidelines manual, and Mary and I have gotten together several times. What we're probably gonna have to do, Robert, there's so many files on there, on that drive. There's 95 of them. So to put them all on the website's not practical or affordable. So we would link to them. And, you know, from looking through the other part of it, the first part of the manual where you did a lot of, I know you did a lot of copy and paste from the Maryland Historical Trust for method and things to do things. Again, 92 pages is a lot of space. So we thought that we could, at first, one of the things Mary said is we're gonna have to go through this again and make sure whatever we're putting on the website is factually correct. And then the best idea I think she had was not everybody who's on the commission now was on it then, right, 2 years ago. So we review it again in one of our meetings, and then we have to vet it for like one of the
I
things.
could do another presentation if you want, like we did back in 2017.
We
I
can do that. We can do that. But she just said there's something, we're gonna have to compress it down on the website and then link to, like at the very end of your thing, you have the sources. And that's where the
Or you
information,
could link it to the, can you link it to the Maryland Historic Trust website? Because that's where they all are.
that's what we would do. We'd say
Yeah, that's
for
perfect. If you want to do that, that's fine.
for more guidance to find your parcel, you know, like, and we could say, for example, WO number 122, if there is such one, right? And that's a parcel, I don't know, that's Mr. Hammond's house, let's just say. And if he was looking for it, he could go to that website and plug in that, you know, we put an example. So at least we guided them to it, and we can also put a wording in there that the original that you had, a paper copy, which is going to be 200 pages, is on file with the planning department, you know, if they wanted to view it.
I think you have a paper copy. I
got
gave
one
you
right
one,
here.
I gave each one of the commissioners.
I got one right here, but I'm just saying, so we are working on it, and we
Good.
will, but we gotta get, I think we all need to like look at it again, so I can
I
get.
don't mind doing that.
Yeah.
I really don't. I enjoy doing that, so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, okay. And I think then everybody gets a look at it, like, I don't know if Norman got a look at it.
Yeah, I was here at
He
that,
was
at
here.
that meeting. I think all of us were here, the only one that wasn't was John, and I think Carol had something going on. that
I
night.
wasn't, I had something for.
It would be probably better if we did that anyway, because then we can review the language in it. One thing, you know, that came up in our, we had a couple meetings about it. One of the things that caught Mary's eye was it said the Historic District Commission ordinance is the law. So she said, I don't even know if that's factual, and it is,
It is.
but I checked it, you know, it's,
Oh, that's right in the manual.
I'm sorry.
It's right in the, it's right on the website. It's right in the.
Right, but she just
yeah.
said, that doesn't sound like, you know, like it's Maryland state statute. Well, if we comply with Maryland state statute, then our ordinance is the statute for our jurisdiction. So I checked that, and that's true. So that's just an example when we were going through it. So, and then some of the other areas, I know you were trying to make them stand out a little bit, like the highlighting, and you know, you had some in pink and some in hot green.
Yeah, there are three colors.
And-
One color was for the representation of the business district. The other color was a representation of the historic sites in the residential district.
Right.
And the third one was a few properties that were historic, but not in our historic district.
Right, and
Yeah.
she's just suggesting that we not do that, not highlight them like that. 'cause
No, you don't have to really
It
highlight
kind
it
of
at
jumps
all.
out at you when you look at it. But that's why I think her suggestion that we all look at it together again before we go to putting it on the website is a good one. So I think we should do
I
that.
think we're going to start the new year out, 2022, with a whole new, for all of us. And I think, you know, John coming aboard like we all did, I sort of learned by just sitting and listening, you know. And when you came up, Robert, and presented us with all that, and of course my years of friendship, which Carol had as well with Paige Hammond, who was in the state of Maryland, really, as she will say, I don't care what they say, you all can suggest colors. She said only Annapolis and Berlin in the beginning have that in the statute, that they have the right to suggest and then show things that would be.
Is that written down somewhere?
I beg your pardon?
Is that written down somewhere? Is there
You
like-
know what, she has sent me a lot of those things, and I will certainly look and see.
It's not in our
Because actually,
ordinance.
before the
It's not
meeting,
in our
Samantha
ordinance.
asked me about that, about colors. Is it
We
like
are to
a rule?
suggest for people who are clueless, I'm going to use the example, not everyone comes from a background, even interest in historic colors or historic buildings or what's appropriate. I mean, that Pepto-Bismol pink that ended up on Exchange and Savings Bank, you know, she said is still just, that should not have been. That should not have been. That is not in any way an appropriate color for a
But
bank that
there is not one word in our ordinance that says we dictate what color.
No, we don't dictate, we
We
suggest.
suggest, but
We suggest.
you can
It
tell
doesn't
me
say
that
that either.
I buy Rainey's Reef and I decide I want to paint it purple with green polka dot, and you say, well, I don't think that's gonna look very good. I can.
Oh, really? I
Yes,
think,
I
Carol, I
can.
think you're being exaggerated
No,
on that. I
I'm
think
not.
we could just wrap it up, and I'd like to have Paige come one point, she does come to visit, and give us her background, her experience with the state of Maryland, and I think she can answer, perhaps my terminology isn't totally what you're looking for, but you listen to her talk and you get the clue. She's as knowledgeable as anyone,
Oh,
more than you or
absolutely.
me.
Oh, I
about
know.
the historic district or the state of Maryland and the formation of the historic districts. This
No,
wasn't something that was around in 1920
No,
that came around.
no,
So there's a lot to learn. For all what I'm saying, there's a lot for all of us to learn, and it's helpful with what Robert's done, and that we can have good conversation between all of us and try to find the best way that we can present ourselves as a commission.
Yeah,
I
I
remember
mean,
when I did that presentation, that you had just recently become a commissioner,
Yes.
and I think you really appreciated what we did with this because
I
you just
did.
came on board and you have
Yeah.
a good understanding now
Sure.
of our
Giving
guidelines.
references
You know.
to, that I was not previously aware of,
Yeah,
that are out my, that I could go to.
but I mean, I learned a lot doing this myself because there's stuff that I didn't even know myself. And like all those PDF files, Dave, they were like, I got them right from the Maryland Historic Trust, so technically, there's no need to make another copy on another website. You just link it to that, and
Right,
it's,
that's what we
that's
thought.
fine. If you could do that,
Yeah.
God, you saved yourself hours of work. Hours of work.
We're all good about saving hours of work, right, Carol?
Who's doing the work? Carolyn's gonna do it?
No.
Not me and Mary, but.
okay.
Thank you, but no thank you.
Questions for Dave. What's happening with Mr. Pitts' old house? I got a picture that somebody was standing on the scaffolding. Have they done anything, or was that just a photo op?
As
No,
far as I know, it's a photo op.
I can, they started painting.
Oh, they have,
Yeah.
okay. What color are they using?
The same colors that are on it, and if you go to look at it above that scaffolding, I sent the picture.
Oh,
So
okay,
I
with you,
saw-
all right.
I saw the guy out there, and I said, well, look at that, something's happening. And I wasn't sure at that point what exactly was.
Now that it's cold.
Right, not exactly sure what was happening there, but as I come out that way, you can see a distinct, that, I guess it's like a tannish color, that
You know what,
had.
Norrie, that's fascinating. Peggy Cropper, Reese's wife Peggy, that was where she grew up when, as a young child, and she has a painting, it's in my phone, that she did of her grandparents' house. It was absolutely, from a photograph of one that I'd never seen before, and it looks, the way she painted it was almost like a pale yellow, you know, and it was
So
really quite
that's what,
lovely.
like a mustard, I mean,
Yeah, yellow.
looking at so many colors now, but
Yeah.
yes, it is definitely painted down to that area. They've started painting it, whether it's primer painted, whatever. It's fresh at the top, and I'm assuming that they keep working their way down. They missed a good day today if they should have been out
I
there.
think we got some
We
60
just have
degrees
to
coming
be
up.
careful about those windows and, I mean, because you all never did anything, I guess, about, you know, the.
Well, that's part of his grant, is to reglaze the windows and redo the woodwork, repair the woodwork. That's his grant.
Okay,
have a
okay. If
question.
you're confident that, you know, it's, okay.
Yeah.
I have a question. Someone asked me recently, and I think I knew the answer, but I want to make sure it's clear with everybody. If somebody in our historic district wants to repaint their house, and they're just going to repaint it the same color, do they have to come for an application?
No,
No, I didn't think so.
not generally, no.
That's
I mean,
what
if they're
that's what I told
changing-
them, I said, you shouldn't have to.
If
but-
they're changing shutters or they're changing woodwork that is obvious, then, you know, because it's got to be replaced, then we usually have them come.
How about changing color?
No,
No?
because we don't dictate color. So that's the point.
According to you, Mary, didn't you say that in Annapolis and Berlin were two exceptions?
No, she said we could recommend.
If they, in a case like that, I wonder if that's just, if you're going to change colors, do you have to come and suggest what you're changing?
Not in our code.
No.
Not in the Berlin code, but we don't know what, okay.
I mean, I-
I'll have a
And usually,
conversation with them.
in my time here, usually when someone comes and they show us a rendering like, I'll use for example, the first house Brian Brushmiller and his wife did. When they came to you, they said, and they were doing windows at the time, and they got windows, and they
Which
said,
house
we're
was that? I'm
gonna
going blank. Which house?
Harry Graydon's.
do. Yeah.
Oh, Harry's, that was the first, okay, then not the one
Well,
they
no,
lived in.
the one they live in, but it's the same
Okay.
idea.
Yes.
They showed the windows, they showed the new shutters,
Right.
they showed the color they had in mind. And, you know, your panel said, yeah, this looks great. You know, green shutters, white paint, new windows, new door, I think it was, new front door. And they said, yeah, we like it. And if they had brought blue paint to you with white trim, you still couldn't dictate to them that but hopefully you would still like it. But they were in keeping with what had been there anyway. You know, it was all new, but it was still white and green trim. So,
I personally think at least 98% of people that have the homes that are in the historic district care about how they look on the outside.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
not going to do something that's
well, look at the one.
outrageous.
Look at the one at 201. Now, you know, the previous owner who let it go. You know, someone had tried to put quote Victorian colors on it, the purple and the pink and
Because
the
that was the
magenta.
era of that one house.
Right, right.
Right.
And then the new people went back to, I would say that's not necessarily a Victorian
Palette.
theme, but it's
Pleasing.
and it's three different colors if you look at it, that all go together in the same palette.
Right,
And
right.
that job came out beautiful.
Which
That house
house
was
is
beautiful.
The
The corner of Washington and,
Washington.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, Queen
The one-
Anne Victoria.
Right, the one on the hill.
They're doing a
The
beautiful.
corner house, yeah.
It's done. I
You
mean,
know what's happening across the street? That place
house
looks like
turned
it's
out
still.
Let me tell you something. I
I thought
passed,
they
Yeah,
was-
it
they
got
showed us
painted,
a
yeah.
beautiful presentation of that house they were doing over, but I went by the other day, it looked like
did you see that
a
house tonight?
disaster.
Coming here? I have passed that house when I come here.
The one on South Main Street that is
The
across
corner of
from.
Washington and Main, that beautiful Victorian home they just fixed up.
here.
It's all lit up for Christmas. You gotta see it. It's
Yeah, it's
beautiful.
beautiful.
But across the street, next to the Episcopal Rectory.
Dave, I think we've
Oh, that
waited
house,
long
oh.
enough. You
Well, they
know,
came in front of us with a huge presentation. And the builder was here and someone said he'd been injured in
When
an
was that?
accident at Frontier Town and got a lot of
Mr.
money. And
Benito.
that's how he was
And-
able
And
to.
we have spoken to him, and
What's
he
going on?
let,
Did they drop him?
Carolyn, you spoke.
Carolyn, may I ask what's happening?
The last time I talked to him, he said that they were looking for, someone to paint.
A painting contract.
Yeah, painting
Oh my
contract.
God,
that's why all
I
the
can
junk's
give you a
in the
name, the
yard.
one who did our home. He's fantastic and he's reasonable too.
Okay.
But
Just
he's been
checking.
through several of them, is
Yeah.
what he said.
What's his last name, may I ask, so I can put a name with the address?
I forget.
Benito,
What's his name?
Benito,
Benito.
Anthony Benito.
B-O-N-I-T.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Benito. Okay,
Wow.
Anthony
Here-
Benito. Okay, my New Jersey friend. Whoa!
God, what's in the world?
Tony's here and he's angry.
The light just went. The
Okay.
light was smoking a little
Carolyn,
bit.
can we do another
Okay,
Is
so,
that-
nice with a little bit of strength? I mean, we asked for them to move the trail for the big trailer out of the front yard. Well, they did, but that place not only needs to be painted, but they need to do something with that front yard. It is just a wilderness of weeds and stuff. I'm sorry, but
You're
it needs to be
absolutely right.
cleaned up. I know we can
Straight.
make people cut their grass, but I don't know if we make them cut weeds, but it's disgusting.
well, I thought they were moving out or something, went by that. I said, well, that looks horrible, what's going on over there? I thought they had this beautiful presentation from the contractor and going to do the original shingles.
Well, we've waited long enough.
Yeah.
Now, I get so tired. We've waited 55 years for this house. Let's not wait 55 years on this down here. And my other pain.
Can we take pictures and send them to them? Say,
I have taken pictures and said, my other pain, and I do not know what to do about this, but I'm ready to be very upset over this, is the alleyway by the Globe. When we all came for a special meeting, because that young gentleman wanted to get all that work done, and it's jumped up again. They've had that big smoker thing hanging out that fence, which you and I talked about back in June, that's illegal, what's still there. And I've actually tried to call, and I've actually tried to email him and Matt, and nobody will even answer me.
Okay.
Have you told, has
I have not
anyone-
spoken to them, but I will.
Why in the world would they ask us for a special meeting? We rushed to approve everything in May, and here it's almost Christmas and they haven't even done anything. I feel like we're taken advantage of because something needs to be done. It's really horrible. So they appease us by saying, we really want to do this, we approve it.
Just so it's not this building.
I agree with Carol on this one.
I'm telling her, I mean, it's,
I don't have it.
There was smoke coming out of that.
That's
Well, I'll get my
just a
phone,
light.
and we'll wrap the meeting up for another time.
The smoke detector's activated, that might be for us.
The projector went out, and that went up without anybody pushing.
Say goodbye.
who adjourns, Robert, you adjourn us, so we're out of here if the fire company comes.
No, that's
Anyway, if we're all leaving, I just want to say one thing. I want to wish everyone here a Merry Christmas
Oh,
and a Happy New Year.
yes,
You too, thank you.
yes. I met your daughter-in-law and your grandson.
I hear the fire
She
sign,
is
I'm
the
the first one out of
loveliest
the building.
lady.
Who's adjourned?
And
Who made the
she is
motion?
with
Carol,
your
did you
grandson,
make the
you know.
motion?
angry.
I think she
Oh,
did.
hell, I'm-
Nornie, did you second it or Robert? I'll second that motion.
Somebody else.
Time to go.
Mary.
Who made the motion?
Hey, Washington DC, I hear police, I don't hang around to see, I think I'll wait and see.
John, I put you down.
Okay, kids, it's been fun, we wrapped this year up with a lot of, welcome aboard, John, cheers.
They were walking up.
Today?
Carolyn and
I'll cut it
David,
off
cheers,
right here.
thank you, kids.
Whatever day they had all the stuff up.
Was last week?
Good weekend.
They came up Wednesday.